And welcome back to the North Star Takes podcast with Bailey Policki and Jacob Liberta. You can find all our videos here on our channel, so feel free to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram as well. Today we're going to be discussing a little bit of a review of the Broncos game, which was pretty much just a disaster involving the backup players, but we'll mostly focus on the upcoming Colts game, the second preseason game. So quickly going over the Broncos game here. You can't really take much away from it, honestly, except that Jake Browning might not be your backup quarterback. And there's really not a lot of hope with most of these backup guys, it seems like. I mean, granted, they were playing against like a starting quarterback for over half the game, especially on, the defensive side of the ball. But outside of like AJ Rose, who's like the fifth string running back, I don't think anyone really played very well. So do you have any major takeaways from this first preseason game?
I mean, we plain and simply just got worked. Like, our depth, or what we thought was depth, is just abysmal. And we can't really rely on any of these guys to enter into an actual game that counts for something. So I think that's at least a takeaway from this game that was probably pretty important to figure out this early on.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
That was a little scary how truly bad they were to just get blown out of the water like that. So especially in the first game that you have fans return to US Bank and just get stomped on, like that's just not a good look.
Very anticlimactic.
And you get Zimmer's comments just going off to everybody, this and this and this is going wrong. But other than that, that's basically it.
I love Mike Zimmer, man.
Oh, he's so candid. I love it. I think his comments are so blunt. He's not hiding from anybody.
Yes.
That's what I really enjoy. So I'll take that away from the game too. That's a positive. But as far as the actual gameplay and what I took away from it personally was just that the backup offensive linemen are not good.
No.
So if these starters that we have get hurt or aren't very good, we don't really have anybody else to turn to either. So that's a little concerning. I did like that Wyatt Davis got better as the game went along. Obviously, everybody remembers that first drive he had against Smith-Marsette where he got creamed. But after that, he really improved. He had a good PFF grade, was top 5 this week, and rookie offensive lineman that qualified. So
super encouraging.
That's promising. And like you said, AJ Rose really took the opportunity he was given with Kene Nwangu going down with an injury. So that's cool. But I feel like we probably could have plugged in any running back there. But
for sure.
Well, you never know. And then I know a lot of people didn't really like Mon's performance. Well, especially Browning. I mean, gosh, that guy.
Yeah, Browning was a disaster.
He looked just bad. But once we got to Mon, I know a lot of people said he was just basically playing too slow. But at the same time, from the lens I was looking at it, I'm obviously a bit biased towards Mon because I really like Mon because I want him to be the heir apparent to Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
But I think the traits I picked out of him from this game was just his mobility and how nice that is, how refreshing that is to see a guy that actually has pocket presence and can move around and pick up first downs in 3rd and 5 situations where Kirk just doesn't do that. He just eats a sack and it's over. Drive ends.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably my positive spin on things. It's just Mond, even though a lot of people didn't really like his performance, he wasn't great. I was 6'16", but I think I like the traits that were there on display. So
yeah, I'd agree with you. I think Wyatt Davis and Kellen Mond are probably the two most encouraging signs from that game, other than AJ Rose, who's not going to make the team. Kellen Mond, obviously he didn't make any like super flashy plays. He had a touchdown that was dropped by Wap, who's not going to make the team.
It might not even been dropped if you look at taking a closer look at the replay. Like he might have actually come down with that, taking a couple steps, but it was just officiating, just blowing it, and it didn't really matter because it's preseason. But anyways, keep going.
Yeah, and then Wyatt Davis, obviously he kind of got punched in the mouth in that first series, going against known fierce pass rusher Smith-Marsette, who the Vikings let walk.
I know. You got Stephen cleaning up on Dakota Dozier right away.
Dakota Dozier takes a holding in the end zone for a safety. Get this guy off the team.
I don't even want to talk about him anymore. I can't stand that guy. I don't know how he still has a roster spot.
It's unbelievable. The fact that Wyatt Davis hasn't leapfrogged him on the depth chart is inexcusable because in one preseason game, all the fans can see that Wyatt Davis is a better player. What do they owe Dakota Dozier? They owe him absolutely nothing.
I know.
It's pathetic. But I think Dakota Dozier is going to end up getting cut, I think. It's just a matter of time, I would hope. Wyatt Davis will be ready to go as the backup right guard. And I've seen that lately the Vikings are working Oli Udoh at left tackle and right guard. And so I don't know if maybe if Rashad Hill struggles or if there's an emergency where they have to move Udoh to left tackle, then maybe they'd have to plug in Wyatt Davis right away. So that could be an interesting dynamic as well. But, those are definitely my two encouraging signs. I'd say Kellen Mond, I think, is going to end up being the backup quarterback. Apparently Zimmer's said he's been practicing a lot better the last few days here.
And if Browning continues to look like that in the preseason, what do you think would happen if you put him in an actual game if Kirk were to go down for some reason? So that's not an option right now.
And as long from what we can gather, at least, Kellen Mond's a pretty smart dude. So as long as he can understand the offense and kind of stay within the offense, I think if you needed him to be a game manager for a couple games, I think he could do it, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like you could really keep it safe, run the ball with Dalvin a lot, maybe get him involved in a little play action, but that's about it. You don't have to make it super complex. But they said he's also a pretty smart guy, so, I mean, you could if you wanted to. And at the same time, too, I know this might be unpopular opinion, but if I'm being honest, I'd rather just have Mond be the backup and just be done screwing around with these practice squad guys. I don't even want to bring in a veteran at this point, like Blake Bortles. That doesn't do it for me. Sean Mannion, if he gets cut by the Seahawks, no, I don't want any of that. I know, he can facilitate an offense or something like that.
I don't care.
He can grind out a game. But I'm like, no, he's going to come out here and look bad. And you're going to be like, why do we have this guy playing? Well, we could have just had Mond in the first place.
Yeah, if Kirk's going to miss if he misses one game, okay, it's not the end of the world.
No, it's not going to break your back.
If he's going to miss a stretch of games, your season's probably over anyways, so you might as well see what you have in Kellen Mond, because you're going to have to know going into the next draft if you need to look for a quarterback, because you're more than likely done with Kirk after this season. So I think the more of Kellen Mond we can see, the better. And I'm hoping this week against the Colts, we get a good dose of him as well, and maybe he'll end up being the second guy in there. Who knows? I mean, I think Kirk and the starters, I'm not sure if Kirk's going to play. They haven't come out and said yet, but I'm guessing they'll play at least a couple series, get their feet wet. Obviously, probably not Dalvin, probably not Jefferson.
They have no business in a preseason game.
Yeah, maybe even not Thielen. I don't know. Those guys don't need it, but it would also be nice for Kirk to get some reps in with his guys in a game situation. But it's just a tough balance. Do you want to risk the injury just for a little bit of repetition and camaraderie, or I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth it. I mean,
I don't think it's worth it.
Preseason games are entertaining from the fact that you can kind of see the back end of your roster, see if there's any promising players for the future, stuff like that. So what's your opinion, though? Do you think the starters are going to play much against the Colts? And then what are you kind of looking for beyond those guys?
Yeah, I feel like the starters will get a series or two, both ways, both the offense and the defensive starters. Like you said, I think the very most prominent players on our team, like Dalvin and Jefferson and like Danielle Hunter or something, maybe Danielle will play just because he's played a football game in a while, kind of like Michael Pierce. But I can't see them playing more. I think they will play a series, but I don't think it'll be anything more than that. And beyond that, what I'm looking for is basically to see Kellen Mond, which I did appreciate in this last Broncos game, how he played like over half the game. And I kind of want to see that awesome again. Like, I think that's should be probably our number one priority in this preseason, if I'm being honest. So I'm looking forward to that again, see if he grows upon his first game in the NFL. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for me to look forward to this weekend.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see some better effort from the offensive line.
Yes, too.
If we can see this starting unit together with Rashad Hill and Oli Udoh and obviously the other three mainstays out there, it'd be nice to just see what they look like for the first series or two. Indianapolis has a pretty good defense, so I'll be kind of curious to see how they match up with them. If we see a guy like Rashad Hill getting worked, or if Oli Udoh's not looking very good at guard, I think it's going to be pretty concerning rolling into week one, because I think as it stands right now, this is set as your starting offensive line.
Yes, it is. If there's any hiccups, we got to start hitting the panic button, because like we saw last week, the backup options are miserable. So.
They are. And I don't know if they're making calls to there's still some free agent offensive linemen out there. Russell Okung is a left tackle that's out there. It might not hurt to grab him. I'm sure there's a few other guards out there as well that you could sign for depth. But honestly, if Udoh struggles at guard, I would just throw Wyatt Davis in there. I mean, I think this guy, obviously he was playing against backups, but I think he's at least got a bit of an anchor. He's a bigger body. I just think he can withstand some of that pass rushing threat at least a little better than Drew Samia, who just got thrown to the ground by DeForest Buckner last year.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want any of that again.
No. Or Dakota Dozier tripping over his own feet.
No, so you know what these guys are already. You don't know what Davis is yet.
And then I'll just be kind of interested to see, I don't know if like Patrick Peterson or Harrison Smith are going to play or not, but it'd be kind of nice to see like the full defense play like a series or two together just to see how they're kind of working, because there's been quite a bit of turnover on this defense, good turnover, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys look. I'm kind of excited to see Michael Pierce, because they've been hyping up his pass rushing ability in training camp here.
Yes, they could really get after guys like Eason in that preseason game, so that could be kind of fun.
Absolutely. So we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on that, and hopefully we have better things to say next week about the preseason game. And
let's hope.
And before you know it, it's the last preseason game against the Chiefs, and from what I've heard, I don't think they're really gonna treat that as like the last preseason game like normal. So this upcoming weekend could be it for the starters. So it's going to be interesting.
That'd be kind of wild, because that'd be virtually little preseason for anybody of significance. So I mean, I think that's something to watch as well. But,
for sure.
What else was I going to say? I think I think another thing I'm looking forward to is I want to see how, really, like you said, this offensive line, there's nowhere to go but up.
Yes.
I feel like after getting just throttled 33-6,
You'd think
just
so, yeah.
looking all out of sorts, it's got to happen now. There's nowhere to go but up, right?
Yes, you would think so, but it's Minnesota Vikings. You
Yeah.
never know. But yeah, we'll talk about that next week. So that's going to do it for this edition of the North Star Takes podcast. Be sure to like our videos and stay tuned for more content by hitting that subscribe button. Hit the little notification bell as well. And feel free to spread the message to your sports-loving friends about us as well. Our channel's grown quite a bit over the last several weeks here, so we're looking forward to more growth there, and we're appreciating all the feedback we're getting in the comments. Give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter as well, and thanks for watching.